What do you think of when you hear the word heist? Do you imagine a lone wolf outlaw running from the cops after just robbing a stagecoach? Or perhaps a suave gentleman in a tailored suit charming his way past security to swipe some priceless jewels? Maybe you're more of a modern thinker, picturing a hoodie-clad computer hacker bringing down a bank's firewall with some well-placed keystrokes. Wherever your imagination might wander, one thing is certain: the word heist conjures up images of cunning, skill, and precision. But in terms of planning and audacity, nothing quite compares to the bold and ingenious ways some of the greatest bank heists in history were carried out. From daring daylight raids to long-term underground schemes, these stories are enough to make you question just how safe our institutions really are. So let's take a look at some of the greatest bank heists in history. But before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our amazing videos. And stick around until the end to learn about one of the most audacious heists ever pulled off. You won't believe how much money was stolen. Number 10, the Dunbar Armored Robbery. In October 1997, a routine armored car pickup turned into the largest cash robbery in U.S. history. Employees of Dunbar Armored, a cash transportation company, were making a scheduled stop at a San Fernando Valley shopping center to pick up customer deposits. But the employees soon realized that they had been set up. As they approached the usual collection point, 2 18-wheelers and 3 vans were parked where the pickup spot should have been. Suddenly, 16 armed men jumped out from the vehicles and surrounded the Dunbar truck. One of the attackers went inside the truck and used a crowbar to pry open the containers holding the cash. Then the men split up into 2 groups, each taking their cut of the loot and speeding away in the waiting vehicles. By the time police arrived at the scene, the robbers were gone and the massive haul of $18.9 million was nowhere to be found. The FBI believes that the robbery was orchestrated by a former employee who leaked confidential information to the perpetrators, helping them to plan the attack. Despite a massive manhunt, none of the thieves were ever caught and the money was never recovered. The Dunbar Armored Robbery remains a mystery to this day, leaving experts scratching their heads over how the gang managed to pull off such a daring heist. No, 9. The Antwerp Diamond Heist. On February 16, 2003, masked men armed with axes and batter-powered cutting torches stormed the historic Diamond Quarter in Antwerp, Belgium, home to the largest diamond trading center in the world. The men made their way to the vault of the HRD Antwerp sorting facility, where they made quick work of slicing through the steel door. Inside, they found sacks full of diamonds worth tens of millions of dollars. According to some reports, the thieves made off with gems totaling approximately $100 million. Despite having little experience in cutting diamonds, the gang apparently knew exactly which stones to target, selecting only those with the highest quality and value. After making their selections, the thieves disappeared and the diamonds were never recovered. In the aftermath of the robbery, authorities praised the staff of the Diamond District for their bravery, noting that they did everything right. Security footage from the scene shows that despite being trapped inside the vault with the attackers, nobody panicked or tried to stop the thieves. This allowed the gang to escape without any injuries or complications, making for a remarkably smooth getaway. The Antwerp Diamond Heist remains unsolved and the whereabouts of the stolen gems are still unknown. Number 8, the Northern Ireland Bank Raids. In August 2004, a series of coordinated attacks targeted banks across Northern Ireland, resulting in the theft of over $41 million US. A gang of 20 heavily armed robbers launched the raids, attacking 19 banks in 16 locations throughout Northern Ireland. The targets were mostly the Danske Bank, Northern Ireland's largest retail bank, which had links to the security services. The motive behind the attacks was unclear, but some speculated that the robbers were motivated by political loyalties or personal grievances against the bank. The raids caused widespread panic and disruption to the country's financial system. However, the perpetrators were never caught and the majority of the stolen funds were never recovered. The Northern Ireland bank raids remain a controversial topic with many questions left unanswered. It's possible that the true motive behind the attacks will never be uncovered, leaving us to wonder what drove the gang to carry out such a brazen and audacious mission. Number 7. The Securitas Depot robbery. In February 2006, a group of armed robbers executed one of the most audacious heists in British history, stealing over £53 million from a Securitas Depot in Tunbridge, Kent. But the planning and execution of the robbery was even more shocking. The gang kidnapped the depot manager and his family, forcing him to lead them to the site and hold his wife hostage at his home. Meanwhile, other members of the gang infiltrated the depot, tying up the employees and escaping with the money. The mastermind behind the operation was a career criminal named Jet Taylor, who recruited a team of accomplices to help him pull off the heist. Taylor had meticulously planned every detail, from the kidnapping of the depot manager to the logistics of transporting the money. Despite the massive amount stolen, Taylor and his gang were eventually caught. The robbery had a significant impact on the UK's security industry, leading to calls for greater regulation and oversight of private security companies. No. 6. The Central Bank of Iraq heist. In April 2003, in the midst of the Iraq War, Saddam Hussein's son, Qusay, orchestrated the largest bank heist in history, stealing nearly $1 billion from the Central Bank of Iraq. According to Qusay, the withdrawal of the money was part of a plan to distribute it to families of Iraqi soldiers killed during the war. However, it is widely believed that the funds were actually looted and used to finance insurgent groups fighting against the U.S. occupation. The theft was not discovered until after the capture and death of Qusay and his half-brother, O'Day. In December 2003, after the fall of Baghdad, U.S. forces seized hundreds of millions of dollars in cash and gold from the bank, but nearly $700 million was never recovered. The Central Bank of Iraq heist remains shrouded in mystery, leaving many questions about the involvement of senior government officials and the role of organized crime in the theft. No. 5. The Brink's Mat robbery. On November 1983, a group of armed robbers stole £40 million in gold bullion and cash from the Brink Mat depot at Heathrow Airport in London. The mastermind behind the robbery was Brian Robinson, who assembled a team of accomplices to carry out the heist. Robinson had planned the robbery meticulously, infiltrating the depot and observing the security procedures. The gang disabled the depot's alarm system and waited for the arrival of the night shift manager, whom they had bribed to let them in. Once inside, they overpowered the staff and escaped with the loot. Despite the massive amount stolen, only a small portion of the money and gold was ever recovered. The Brink's Mat robbery remains one of the most audacious heists in history, showcasing the lengths to which criminals will go to achieve their goals. The case also highlights the importance of security measures in protecting valuable assets and the need for vigilance in preventing such crimes from happening. No. 4. The Knightsbridge Security Deposit robbery. On April 2012, a group of thieves stole valuables worth an estimated £40 million from the Knightsbridge Safety Deposit Company in London. The mastermind behind the robbery was believed to be a 76-year-old billionaire businessman who enlisted the help of accomplices to carry out the heist. The gang infiltrated the company's vault, targeting the safety deposit boxes of wealthy clients. They made off with a wide range of items, including jewelry, watches, and other luxury goods. While some of the items have been recovered, a significant portion is still missing. The Knightsbridge Security Deposit robbery highlights the growing threat of sophisticated cybercrime and the need for individuals and businesses to take proactive measures to protect their assets. The case also raises questions about the role of law enforcement and government agencies in combating such crimes and ensuring the safety of valuable items stored in secure facilities. No. 3. The Charing Cross robbery. In 1963, a group of London criminals led by Bruce Reynolds executed one of the most audacious train robberies in history, stealing £2.6 million in today's money from a Royal Mail train at Charing Cross. The gang of 15 men boarded the train and overpowered the guards, escaping with the mail bags containing the money. The robbery was meticulously planned, with each member of the gang having a specific role to play. Despite a massive manhunt, the gang remained at large for several months. Eventually, most of the gang members were caught and sentenced to lengthy prison terms. The Charing Cross robbery remains a notorious crime, highlighting the audacity and cunning of the perpetrators and the challenges faced by law enforcement in bringing them to justice. The case also sparked public debate about the effectiveness of the criminal justice system and the need for increased security measures to prevent similar crimes. No. 2. The Balo Tower Heist. On May 1978, a group of armed robbers stole an estimated $40 to $50 million from the Balo Tower building in Beirut, Lebanon. The perpetrators took advantage of the ongoing Lebanese civil war to infiltrate the building's vault and make off with the cash, gold bars, and jewelry. The robbery was one of the largest in history and remains unsolved to this day. The perpetrators were never caught, and the motive behind the theft remains unclear. The Balo Tower heist highlights the vulnerability of financial institutions during times of conflict and the challenges of enforcing law and order in areas affected by civil unrest. The case also raises questions about the security measures in place to protect valuable assets and the effectiveness of law enforcement in bringing perpetrators to justice. No. 1. The Eastern European bank heists. In 2004, a group of Eastern European criminals carried out a series of daring bank robberies in Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, and Slovakia. The gang targeted banks that were not adequately protected and made off with an estimated total of 100 million euros. The robberies were audacious and well planned, with the gang using disguises and weapons to intimidate bank employees and customers. Despite a massive manhunt, the gang members were never caught and much of the money was never recovered. The Eastern European bank heists highlighted the growing threat of transnational organized crime and the need for international cooperation in combating such activities. The case also raised concerns about the lack of security measures in place to protect banks against sophisticated criminal operations. Well, there you have it, the top 10 most infamous bank heists. From the audacious planning to the daring execution, these crimes have captured the public imagination and left law enforcement agencies around the world on their toes. But what do you think? Did we miss any notable mentions? Share your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for more historical tales. Thanks for watching.